creating an ambience.
Good morning, Recruiting Gym Junkies. I hope you're well. Today is another fantastic day on planet Earth. I am joined by Russell Monday. He is our contract specialist coach within the Recruiting Gym. Russell's got 20 years experience in recruitment, runs small and massive contract teams. And we're talking about whether we should be focusing on contract.
Morning, guys.
Well, yeah, morning, Russell. How are you?
Apart from the fact that I've got 25 years experience, you've lost 5 years. I'm absolutely fine, Alex, but that's great. I know I look young, but I have actually got 25 years experience.
It may just be you've worked an easy desk, Russell. That's what it is. you had an easy desk. So you had an easy desk. So we're going to be talking about contract today, Russell. But a key theme that we talk about on the morning startups is sort of well-being and just mental headspace. And when we spoke this morning, and we it's okay, just okay, everybody. Russell said we can talk about this. I said, how are you doing? And you said, I'm feeling tired. What did you mean by feeling tired?
Well, do you know something? One of my consultants would have said that to me. I'd be like, I'd probably have had a bit of a whinge about it. But I think I'm not necessarily feeling tired, just a bit lethargic. And I think one day rolls into the next day. And I think also being self-employed or working from home like you all are, it's a bit like the Truman Show, it's a bit one day rolls into the next. And yeah, I just woke up this morning, I just felt a bit tired, but this is perfect because this just gets my engine revving. And I think the most important thing is it's okay to have a feel like that. Yeah. It's okay to have those days. I just think, sometimes you just step out and I'd just say, okay, well, how can I re-energize? And more importantly, what can I get out of today that's positive, that makes me feel positive? Because if you wake up and feel like that and then another day drags on and you keep feeling like that, then it becomes a very negative experience. So look, I'm human, it's natural. I'm not going to beat myself up over.
And we've all had, and the reason we talk about it, Russell, is that we've all had those days. And I think one of the challenges is that in normal life, our emotions sort of change probably week to week. But it does sort of feel at the moment like through the week, you may well have 3 or 4 different switches of emotional state. And it is emotionally draining, I think, from those that are employed, whether they're furloughed or still working with their clients. It's a stressful period because of the uncertainty of what's going to happen in the next 3-6 months. For those that are self-employed and run their own small business, the prospect of, well, are people still gonna buy me? But we do start every startup, Russell, with some successes, and we have some successes to talk about today. Steve, who runs an IT recruiter in the middle of nowhere. What's it called? I have to remember. It's
Where is it, Steve?
It's like a little town northwest of Birmingham. It's in the middle, but he's got 2 contractors offered. He's now got to get his insurance company to underwrite the debt, which is a different challenge. Jody shortlisted 2 candidates yesterday for a permanent position. I'm not sure what you're hearing in the market. Are you hearing people are starting to recruit, Russell?
Oh, most definitely. I do some one-to-ones, work with people. They're finding jobs. They are, going out and looking at the markets that are hiring, and they're going and looking at certain businesses, etc., and they're sending out good emails, videos, and getting interaction. Most definitely, yeah. So there's definitely business out there for sure.
Yeah, I think it's just a question of finding it and being the person that people turn to when you do call. So one of the things I've been hearing a lot of, Russell, which is why I'm excited to have you as a guest today, is that perm recruiters should switch to contract because perm is dead and temp and contract is king. What is your view on that statement in today's market?
Look, I can see the logic. Look, there's perm business out there for sure, and I can see the logic of people thinking, okay, well, clients going to be more confident hiring a contractor because obviously you have that flexibility and you're not committed to a long-term salary. It's a short-term need. So I can definitely see the logic. And I would definitely say, as a perm recruiter, you should certainly consider how you can start maybe cross-selling and asking about contract business. What I wouldn't do is start firefighting, panicking, and saying, I'm going to be a contract consultant now, because it's a different gig altogether. But I think it's really good to maybe upskill yourself and maybe start to cross-sell and ask a few questions about contract. And if you do find a contract, then obviously you can talk to people like myself or Alex to help you on how you facilitate a contract process.
Yeah, and based on your observations, Russell, what's your views in terms of, in this situation, what are the benefits to clients of taking a contractor over perm? You said they get the flexibility.
Well, number one, you get the flexibility in terms of not being committed financially. Number two, I think it's a really, really good opportunity, and something that people really miss when they're cross-selling contract to perm is that if you bring a really good contractor in who's very highly skilled, works on lots of different projects and lots of different sectors, you can get them to actually upskill your people, and they don't have to be on site to upskill your people, because if you're doing regular video links, you can use a really good contractor to upskill your staff. So to get them to learn new techniques in terms of if they're technical or whatever. So for me, I would say that. And obviously, if you're not spending money at the moment on a recruitment fee for a permanent person, you're not spending money on a salary. Okay, you might not be bringing in as much revenue, but you've got that extra cash that you can use that you're not spending on a perm fee or a salary that you've been paying for the last X amount of months. Yeah. So, those are, for me, I think, are some of the key benefits.
Yeah. But someone's put in the chat, so from a client's perspective, contractors cost a lot of money. And I guess the rebuttal to that is, it's a bit like hiring a car. That is probably the most expensive way to use a car every day. But actually, if you don't need a car every day, it's very cost effective. When you look at the physical cost of onboarding a member of staff, the liabilities you pick up, and the nature of margins in contract business now is that actually once you start taking into account pension contributions,
completely
accruals, contractors aren't that much more expensive. What's different is you see the bill every month rather than just at the end of the month when you do payroll.
I mean, I agree with you that, you're not paying national insurance, you're not paying sick, health, you're not paying all those benefits. And, completely, I think that it's a bit of a myth that. I think the biggest pushback I normally get on contractors is the fact that you're not retaining the skills, because you're bringing someone in and then you're teaching them about your product or what it might be, but you're not retaining their skills. And my caveat to that is, well, but why don't you get them to upskill your team so you do retain the skills?
Yeah.
And I
think that the difference between temp and perm is primarily the trigger for clients to recruit. Where perm recruitment is typically planned, contract recruitment is typically a much more distressed purchase. And the opportunity for even perm recruiters just to be aware of contract opportunities is that there's lots of clients in distress.
And just very quickly, sorry to Joshua. I mean, in this market, it might be slightly different, but if a client says to you, contractors are too expensive, but they've been looking to hire a permanent person for 3 months, my caveat to that is, well, you've just saved yourself £20,000 by not paying a salary for 3 months. So you've actually got £20,000 in your bank to pay for a contractor that you wouldn't have had. Yeah. And that made you think, I didn't think about that. So that's something you can think about as and when we come out of this. Or
I can tell you're a contract recruiter. It's like rebuttal. So let's talk a little bit about some of the questioning that perm recruiters and even contract recruiters can use in the current market. At the heart of recruitment, people recruit for 2 reasons. They either don't have enough resource, or the resource that they've got doesn't have the capability to do what's required. Availability and capability of resource. That's what we're all about. So Russell, if you're having client conversations today with people that you've maybe already got a relationship with, what are some of the need finding questions you might ask to uncover contract opportunities?
Yeah, so I would say, what projects are the business working on at the moment? How important are those projects to the business? When do those projects need to be delivered? Are you Are you on point? So
yeah, pause there for a moment. So contract recruitment generally tends to be focused on projects.
Yeah.
And in today's market, almost every organization will have some sort of change program in play to be rebuilding themselves to fit the market that's going to come out of lockdown. Lockdown and furlough is a holding position. Everyone's going to be going through change.
Yeah, with contract, there's always an urgent need potentially. You may have lost a heavyweight perm person and you're in the middle of some key work. I don't know, you may have someone on maternity and you may want to bring someone in, but generally it's normally based around delivery of a project.
Right.
And obviously you don't need someone for 5 years, but you need to bring someone in to deliver on a 6-9 month project assignment. So for me, it's really thinking and talking to clients about, what projects have they got coming up? How are they going to staff those projects? What projects are you working on at the moment? Where are their needs in the business to bring interim staff potentially because of X reasons?
So I think those are good when you find companies have got projects. Often what I would do, my first need finding question is, what's your view on bringing contractors into the organization?
Or when have you brought contractors into the business?
Yeah. Or what problem would have to happen in the business for you to consider bringing a contractor in? What the first thing we want to know is learn what is the philosophical attitude of the client towards contractors.
But even if you're speaking to a new client, one of the questions is, what is the breakdown of your team between contract and perm? So I would say, and they would say, well, actually, we've got 3 perm and 1 contract. I'd say fantastic. And then you could say, and why have you brought interim staff in? Why have you got an interim staff in? Oh, well, we have project works. Oh, fantastic. What project are you working on at the moment? And that. So, the good question is, what's the breakdown between your team in terms of a contract and permanent split? And they may say, well, we don't have any contractors, or we haven't hired any contractors. But that's the question I would ask when I'm fact finding for a new client.
It's sort of a philosophical choice, really, and it's a bit like Android and Apple. What's your view on Android? And they're either pure Apple or they're, I'm pretty happy. I'll do a bit of Android. I'll do a bit of Apple. It's everyone's got a philosophical belief on most things in life. What's your view on paying for a taxi instead of walking?
Yeah,
you're getting a bus instead of a taxi.
And try to be assumptive. Don't say, do you hire contractors? Because very rarely does a client proactively go out and hire contractors. Contractors are normally a knee-jerk reaction. So they would always employ perm first normally. So if you say to a client, do you employ contractors? Their default will say no, but they probably had contractors there. So what I would say is, I would say something more on the lines of, when have you hired a contractor? I wouldn't say, do you hire contractors? Because like I say, it's a deep.
Okay. So you're being sort of like, so when was it, what has to happen for you to hire a contractor?
Yeah, and when was the last
what do you like about using contractors?
Yeah, don't say, do you hire contractors? Because 99% will say no, but 99% of them will probably have had a contractor at some point.
Well, one of the best opportunities for a contract flip at the moment for a perm consultant is where clients are wanting to recruit, but they've put that on hold. It's just to ring up and going, firstly, who's covering that workload?
Yeah.
And what's your experience of hiring a contractor to cover that workload whilst you wait to recruit perm?
Yeah, and a good question is say, what's happening with that work, but more importantly, how important is that work to the business? And if they say, okay, because then you can build that need. And if they say, well, actually, it's, the work's on hold, but it's really important. And then I could say something like, what impact is it having on the business by not having that work completed? Well, we're going to be losing money. Have you considered a contractor? Oh, didn't think about that.
Oh, I love having you on, Russell. This is fantastic. So I think what we're going to do just off the back of this conversation, Russell, is we're going to run for the members of the gym next week. I think we'll do a full half-hour session.
Fantastic.
On questioning, but basically to help perm recruiters question clients about contract opportunities.
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah. Brilliant.
And we can work on a cheat sheet for that for the members as well, because I think there's so much to be so much to be had in that sort of opportunity. So, Andy, so go ahead.
I think the original question you said is about perm going contract. I think, like I said to you at the start of the conversation, is let's just upskill them and give them that opportunity to have that in their toolbox so they can ask those questions and think about contract now.
And actually, even when I recruited perm, I would ask a lot of contract questions, because often if a client had a preferred supplier agreement, that was covering perm, but contract, they were allowed to speak directly to recruiters. And so what I would then do is, even though I was recruiting perm, I would always talk about contracts, because that was the way that I developed the relationship, because that's where if internal recruitment called, I'll be like, no, I'm not calling them about perm recruitment.
I would do the same as a contract. When I was doing new business, I would just want to find out about the department, the skills, the size of the team. If I purely went straight in as a contract guy, then that would have closed the door quite quickly. So
we've got to look, everyone's got to look as if they are helping staffing and recruitment as a whole.
Exactly.
Rather than, hi, my name's Alex. I work BS9, £6 to £13 an hour, just purchase ledger and credit control. But if you want part qualified, then you've got Bob. If you want qualified, you've got Jan. If you want temp transactional, you've got Susie. Like, blows clients' minds. So what we've got to do is we've got to be really conscious of time, because we're out of time. So I'm just going to mention a couple of people. Andy's often asked, what's the cost of the business of not recruiting this role?
Yeah, that's a need establishing question. That's really, that's part of the spin selling. So then you use that information to spin back to get some urgency and sell a solution. So brilliant question.
And Gareth said he's got candidates that would normally look at perm now in open to contract positions. I would be worried about that. What would your thoughts be?
Well, I want to establish why, but maybe that would saturate the market on contract. Potentially.
I often find clients are like, so are they just going to leave for a perm? Like, the most important thing about contract is someone's absolute commitment to finishing whatever tenure they've got. So if it's 6 months, the likelihood of that person finishing 6 months, if a good perm opportunity comes along, is limited. So you've got to there is additional risks.
It's normally contractors saying they'll go perm when they can't find a contract. So it's quite unusual to hear a perm person saying, it's a bit of a flip, isn't it?
But that's because in IT, the best people do contract. And the worst people do perm. In the rest of the industry, it's the other way around, where normally temp candidates aren't as good until you get into senior interim management type opportunities. But so that's today. Russell, thank you very much. This has been fantastic. I'm pumped. Hopefully everyone else is pumped about talking to clients about contract. Remember, whether you recruit perm or contract, we're there to talk about recruitment. It doesn't matter whether we can help today. It's about our ability to engage a client and offer a solution. So see you soon, everybody, and have a great day.
Cheers, guys.
See you in the gym. Bye.